Howdan sawe lama rinpoche daki chiwo pededrin shula kadrin jemba kanye jisante kusanta jinga drup soundu so. My heart is overflowing with love for you all. I hope you can forgive me some of my little, far too many music references, and some of my jokes are not sort of so funny, and I shouldn't laugh at my own jokes. So. I still will. So the theme of this talk is something that might seem quite trivial, but in fact is really very meaningful. So the question could be, like, well, in our society, look, I'm saying the informal definition of enlightenment is bless you, you're free of taking sides. But what about football? I'm say, or golf or something. So I'm an incredible, follower of whoever, Rory McIlroy or whatever, or a football team, and where's the Buddhist take on that? There's all of this. You're supposed to be free from taking sides, and how does that all fit in? And the truth is, now, the real honest truth here is a little bit complicated, but if you get it, I think one very high Lama told me the key to understanding Tibetan Buddhism is this. So I'm going to try and explain it. And I don't think you'll understand it, but I'll try, yeah? And it's also, I think, this almost like a really big thing about Zen Buddhism too, because I've studied Zen Buddhism. I had teachers in Zen Buddhism, which I'm very grateful for. So, okay, enough of the prevarication. Get this, okay, the key to understanding Mahayana Buddhism is to be able to understand the relative truth and the ultimate truth. The simultaneity, like on the relative level, like say I'm to make this up. I support Manchester City, and I don't support Inter Milan. Okay, so this is an example. I think this really happened, didn't it? Recently, there was a Champions League final or something. I think Manchester City won, yeah? So, okay, on the relative level, I can go to that match and, come on, City, or whatever, and I can enjoy myself. I can enjoy my neo-mammalian tribal brain having a field day. Like football is a sublimation of a lot of violence. It's can be very beneficial. But even I'm not thinking about that. On the relative level, it's fine. But I can hold the paradox that on the ultimate level, it's no big deal. If I get too involved, if my side win, I'll get overexcited and drunk. And if they lose, I'll get depressed and drunk. And either way, the whole problem is that what people don't understand is that to hold the paradox is almost like the resolution of the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. So the left hemisphere of the brain is more rational. So on a rational level, I can see it's just a game. It's 70,000 people paying incredible amount of money to see 22 people kick a piece of leather around. So on a rational level, but my other hemisphere of the brain, my right hemisphere, is intuitive and, is maybe, I support the Blues against the Reds or whatever. But it's not one is better than the other. It's that you have to hold, that's the challenge, is to hold the paradox. That I can go to the football match, but like some people, if their team loses, they go home and hit the wife, take it out on their partner. This is true, isn't it, So I can go to a football match, but I can let it go. Purification is simply a matter of letting go. I enjoy being totally involved, totally involved in it. Like, you see, I'm making it humorous already. Totally involved for 90 minutes. But then at the end, I let it go. Okay, my team lost. No big deal. I wasn't so involved I can't extricate myself. And this is like Om Mani Padme Hum. That's what the mantra means. Equanimity is meaning you can extricate yourself from over-involvement. So you can totally enjoy it for 90 minutes, but there's another part of you that is helping you let it go at the end, so that you don't get over-involved. And that's like the Prajna Paramita of the Six Paramita, in very informal language, is no big deal. These people will be on their old age pensions in 40 years' time. All these people running around. Maybe they'll all be suffering from early onset dementia from heading the ball too much, but that's another story. But what is going on? Compassion. But the key thing is holding the relative truth that, I'm saying all-inclusive, aren't I? Has he said that, this Clive character? Has he said that? Let's be all-inclusive. But I'm not asking you to pay my phone bills. And I hope you're not going to ask me to, pay your extras on your mobile phone contracts. You have a phobile moan. So on the relative level, I pay my bills, you pay your bills, and that's sanity, So there's me and you, yeah? And that's sanity on a day-to-day level. I don't expect you to sort of pay my bills or whatever. So on the day-to-day level, the relative truth is there. But the trouble is, on our planet now, is everybody takes the relative truth so seriously. There's no sense of humour, and there isn't the spirituality of understanding the ultimate truth. So everybody's going, cuckoo birds in a way, really. I can give an example, but it's a little bit from maybe a bit before your time, a little bit. But Bill Clinton, President of the United States. Mm-hmm. So in his 8 years in office, the economy did really well. There was lots of employment, and there was not many people going to the food banks, okay? But also, he had an affair with this woman, Monica Lewinsky. Now, the media and the Republican Party tore him apart. So although millions of people had work, millions of people were saved from food banks, all you hone in on is he lost the plot with an intern, which is, so the Buddhist take on that is all-inclusivity is, it's like a balance sheet. You don't throw away the baby with the bathwater? Is that an expression? Okay. Well, is it a Scottish expression? I'm just kidding. But the thing is, if somebody, there's millions of people who have a job, who can put their children through college, you weigh up and you don't just hone in on something that is wrong. You see the whole picture, and you don't judge a person just on the basis of what they do wrong. You don't just, like social media, Somebody taking a flight to Cape Town. Somebody wrote a book about this. Somebody on the flight to Cape Town, they sent a joking text, but it was just a joke to a private friend. They tweeted something, but it could be taken literally as like racial prejudice. And it went viral on Twitter. When she landed in Cape Town, she had lost her job, had been fired, and she had a nervous breakdown for 2 years. John Ronson wrote a book about this story somewhere. So what is going on in our time is we focus on the negative, but the all-inclusive attitude is don't be judgmental and zoom out and try and see the bigger picture. So, like going to the football match, you're involved while it's going on, you're in the present moment. But when you come out of the ground, you come out of the ground. So you don't take it home to your partner and hurt them because you lost. You're able to extricate yourself. You can keep your equanimity because you're in the present moment. But if you over-identify, you get too involved. So Prajna Paramita is the antidote for being too involved in your life. All the Buddhist teachings on impermanence are an antidote to becoming too involved in your life. Dogs are very involved, yeah? Who's got a dog? You lucky people. If I wasn't a travelling Wilbury, I'd have a dog. I'm not a travelling Wilbury, but you know what I mean. So the thing is, we had this darling, beautiful, absolutely best dog in the world, Lhasa Apso, for 14 years. And every time it saw the lead, it would be ecstatic, yeah? It wasn't cynical, like, oh, I've been for a walk before, man, you know. It wasn't, oh, a walk again. Why are you, it's always good dog, isn't it, you know? Never saying, you know, whatever. So the dog is in the moment, and it never uses that in childish enthusiasm. But we have to be mature if we're living a life with other human beings. So the spiritual maturity is understanding if we get too involved, we'll suffer. We'll get our fingers burnt to the hilt. And we'll also get very frightened. If we're I'm just seeing this for the first time in a way. If we're too involved, we'll get very frightened because we'll lose our core stability. We'll get carried away, and if you can get carried away with enthusiasm for your football team, you can get carried away by anger. So the whole thing is, the maturity thing is you can enjoy everything, but you don't get carried away. Maybe another example from Italy. So when I was teaching in Venice, they took me to a restaurant, and there's a family there, and there's 2 8-year-old girls twins in their party dresses or whatever, it's their birthday. And one of these twins dropped their ice cream dessert on the floor, and the mother said, oh, to the other twin, oh, share, darling, look, your sister's dropped hers on the floor. And this twin went berserk. I'm not going to... So this was all translated to me by my interpreter. This twin went berserk. I don't want to share my ice cream. It's her fault, she dropped it. Why are you punishing me that I lose half my ice cream? And eventually they had to, go out the restaurant and then come back in again, whatever. So we're not like the 8-year-old child. If we're so involved, like imagine, twin sister, you're only 8, to melt down just about an ice cream. But we've all been there. We've all been children. But the whole thing is, the whole path is the whole essence of Tibetan Buddhism and the whole essence of Tibetan therapy, in my understanding, is one word. This is, forgive me, this is my understanding. but based on teachings I've taken, the one word is evolution. So when we're children, it's okay to be a child. But when you're an adult, your responsibility is to grow up. So the football, enjoy the sport. It's lovely, but be able to have the ultimate truth, have a sense of humour, to be able, when you leave the ground, you leave the ground. So then you come home, you give the full attention to the wife, and maybe even say, I'm a bit sad because my team lost, and then maybe you'll get even more love just because you're really honest rather than being aggressive. If you can admit your vulnerability, you'll maybe get more love. Sorry, I'm not a marriage counsellor, so I don't know. The theory of this is very easy. To practice this is incredibly difficult. I've been in a room where somebody had a traumatic episode and didn't hurt people, but knocked down a lot of things, tried to. And the only person who was completely present was the Tibetan Lama. And even lots of people were getting incredibly agitated about this person because he was well known to a lot of people. And then the Lama asked me, to drive home with him to his family, so he could, not be forgiven and things. But everybody was reacting, but the Lama didn't react. He responded with compassion to this guy who was having a meltdown. There's a room full of hundreds of people practicing meditation. So that's it's very hard to respond and to have the ultimate truth perspective. And again, it's very easy if you practice, like I say, half an hour a day, you access the brain to do with choicefulness. Then that opens the door to the Six Paramita, Prajna Paramita. So it's like you can enjoy the taste of your cappuccino, but you don't cry when you finish your cup of cappuccino. Purification is simply a matter of letting go. But of course, we love hot clinging on. So that the whole essence of Buddhism is letting go of self-importance and ego clinging. Being fully present, but not over-involved. It's a paradox, isn't it? What this Clive character is saying is a total paradox. I'm saying be fully present, but don't be too involved. Can't you see? This is it. I can't say it clearer than this. In Zen Buddhism, it's the same thing, holding the paradox, that you can be in both attitudes at the same time. You can be fully present, but you can be not totally involved. So it's almost like one part of your brain is fully involved, but another part of your brain is giving you panoramic view, overview, like the the psychologists at Stanford University have a really simple, easy way of putting this in another way as well. So I'll try and give you a little bit of their take on this. But I think you see what I'm trying to understand. But like at Stanford University, they have this idea of the short-term self and the long-term self. So your short-term self, you're at the football match and you're totally there. But your long-term self is like the eye of eternity. Your long-term self is the wisdom to know that if you get too involved, you'll take the aggression home with you and the fouls. Whatever. So life is a balance, balancing your short-term self and your long-term self. So that your long-term self, like say you have a drink at a friend's wedding, that's fine. short term, and in Japan they say most people drink to forget, but the best is to drink to remember, like at a wedding or a christening. So you can have a drink at a wedding, but your long-term self says, that tastes so nice, I could do a whole bottle of tequila now. But your long-term self says you'll embarrass yourself at your friend's wedding, and you might lose, you can't, you have to be driven home, and you might throw up on the groom or something. So your long-term self is keeping you out of trouble. But if your long-term self is saying, oh, you must never stray, you must always, then you live like in a prison. So you have to balance. It's almost 50-50. You totally enjoy yourself, and you totally have the freedom not to make mistakes, because your long-term self is like somebody to watch over you, which is a lovely song and a very interesting film. So most of us are looking outside for somebody to watch over us. Even the Ella Fitzgerald singing the song, somebody to watch over me. But this Buddhism is saying, internalize that. Be yourself the person to watch over you. So the self-compassion that I'm sharing with you is very, very deep, because it's like you are being your own best friend. You are watching over yourself, so at the end of a really traumatic day, instead of hitting the Prosecco, you put your hands on your chest and you let it go. Purification is simply a matter of letting go. And just love yourself unconditionally. Because it really, all of the compassion is about cultivating unconditional love. Prajna Paramita is about cultivating unconditional love. Love that isn't business. So someone to watch over me. If you look for it outside, people let you down. Sometimes people... No, don't go there, Clive. Okay. Long-term self keeping me out of trouble there. Really. If I... yeah. So, another example, Clive. So, your long-term self is keeping you out of trouble. And in a way, in Jungian terms, this is like the divine alchemy, or the inner marriage. Mysterium conjunctis, or whatever. But let's go main track again. The simple thing is balancing the relative truth and the ultimate truth, holding the paradox. So you can go to work, give it your best shot, but when you go home, you don't take your work home with you. Or even if you have a paranoid atmosphere at work, you don't have to take the paranoid mood home with you, because your Prajna Paramita, you can cut through emotional materialism, which is a course I've not taught yet, so that's the course I've written. But cutting through emotional materialism is like, if you're feeling paranoid, how to cut through that, not feed it, not starve it, but respect it and be able to let it go. So then you can be fully involved, give it your best shot, but when you're home, you're home. You're home free. You're liberated, because your brain isn't your worst enemy, conjuring up all of the trauma of the day, but your brain is your best friend, because you're fully present with your family or your partner or your dog or your cat or your food. So you're fully present. And this is like the marriage of your long-term self and short-term self. Or this is just a hint of lots of teachings, but the essence is like going right back to the beginning. an informal definition of nirvana could be free of taking sides. Okay, free from taking sides. We've got this habit of dividing things into like tribes, like I like this, I don't like this, or I ignore this. And this is the problem, like our wiring is a problem. So we rewire ourselves from the inside so that we can see how much we have this tendency to take sides, but we can have a sense of humour about it, which means that we don't get too involved in taking sides. And our wisdom mind gives us the freedom from getting too involved in what we're doing. So we can totally enjoy ourselves, but at the same time like be in the zone of being able to be the master of what kind of mood you're in, so that you can transform worry into relaxation. But this is big subject. So even this tiny question about taking sides is really, maybe the heart of it is because in our society, look, say on social media, you get likes, don't you? It's all reduced to like, basically, or not. Well, I have philosophical reservations about that outfit that Kim Kardashian's wearing. It's just whether, it's like, dislike. It's reducing things to a banal level, and that is the biggest obstacle. So it's really interesting. The latest teaching program from Oxford University Mindfulness is trying to address this problem by going to the heart of the problem, which is this like-dislike mind, or I'm on that side and I'm not on this side mind. If we can address that problem, then we can go forward.